Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Rama Ramsa Weekend Workshop, where you'll learn a modern satsang technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie. I've been practicing satsang for 14 years. During that time, my life has become more peaceful and joyous. I hope that you will have the same or better experience. Today, I will be introducing the facilitator for this event, but first, I'd like to give you a brief introduction to this weekend workshop. If you'll direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see the first element, satsang. Satsang is a modern scientific technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, sat and sang. Sat means positive energy, and sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Thus, the word satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element, meditation. Meditation is an important element of satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw our consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards and focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, thereby allowing us to achieve higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be attending pilgrimages or chanting. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang that we can obtain higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang where we meditate in silence. Group session. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. But it is only through the practice of inner satsang that we can obtain joy. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness is gradually increased, ultimately culminating in a joyous state, which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, we'll receive instructions on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He's the grandson of Guru Maharaj. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, spreading satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his members obtain states of enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. Upon arriving to the United States, both he and his wife began conducting satsang for satsangees. Since being in the United States, he has led efforts to make satsang more accessible to Western and English-speaking audiences. He has also strived to clarify the meanings of yoga, satsang, and guru. He currently travels throughout India and the United States conducting satsang while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, He will teach us an ancient and rare form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
I think it would be appropriate to talk about the destination a little more. Satsang is also a process and satsang is also a destination. So what is satsang, that destination? So in scriptures, there is a description about Sat Chit Anand. That I would call the target state. The Sat, which is positive energy or something that doesn't change. So to me, that transcendental energy and becoming one with it is satsang. And that is the first part of Satchidanand, Sat. So being in union, being in presence of transcendental energy is one part of the target state. The second part is Chit. Now, Chit is another word which probably doesn't have a clear equivalent in English, but maybe we can think of it as subconscious mind or unconscious mind. I can very simply describe or illustrate the difference between the mind and the subconscious mind. Chit is the peaceful part of the mind. Now, how do we understand that? Let's say you look at the ocean. The surface of the ocean has tremendous waves. And sometimes they're so powerful, then enormous and huge ships would sink because of that turbulence. And scriptures have described that world is like that ocean, Bhavsagar, where these waves never stop. But the same ocean, if you go deeper. So I actually watched a documentary where a scientist actually goes in a capsule very, very, very deep into the ocean. When you go deeper into the ocean, what you find is that there are no more waves and there is like stillness of the kind that cannot be imagined at the surface of the same ocean. So you are in the ocean, but not on the surface. You are way deep in there. The deeper you go, the more calmer, quieter, and still it gets. That's the same with you. That's the same with us. The deeper we go into our mind, that's called Chit here, and that's where peace lives. So to find peace, you have to go deeper within us. To Sat, the transcendental energy we need to be one with. Chit, which is the deep eye, the depth within which the deep meditation will take you. That's where peace is. And what will that bring? Anand, or joy. So basically, be energized by the cosmic energy, be at peace, and be, in a state of constant joy. That's our target state. That's where satsang takes you. Satsang basically is also to be with someone who is in that state, and because it is an infectious state. This target state is very infectious. So in the sense that if you achieved that target state, everyone around you will be affected by it without any effort on your part. And that's what Guru Maharaj did, and that's what you can do if we continue to pursue the path, the 5 steps towards inner peace, the target state will take us there. Another way that I would like to describe it is in the 5 steps, the 5 realms that describe the path to inner peace. The first 2 are they're still early parts of the journey where you have to change your direction. Your desires and emotions have to be controlled through practices and other ways and means, which satsang helps you with. Yam and niyam would help you with. Asanas and pranayams will help you with. But then at the top of the 3rd realm, you will find light. So the 4th realm essentially is all about light, knowledge. 5th realm is about love and compassion and unconditional giving, unconditional love that knows no limits. And then you reach the top of the pyramid or top of these 5 realms, which is the zone of everlasting peace. So light, 4th realm, love, 5th realm, and beyond that is the zone of peace. So light, love, and peace can also be described as the target state.
So, wow. I think that this video kind of talks about, not 1, not 2, but 6 things that we ought to have in our daily lives, right? Light, love, peace, not as buzzwords, but things that affect us, our behavior, our internal state, which then affects others around us. Light here, actually, in a way, it represents the 3rd eye, the way you see things beyond the materialistic, things that you see with your 2 eyes. It's how you perceive the world around you. And then Sat, which is the transcendental energy, Chit, which is the deeper self, the deep I, has been mentioned by folks. And then Anand, I mean, constant joy. The question is, this peace, this joy, are we just talking about it, or we are in it? And today I was thinking, while I always, every year, I think like, holidays, New Year is coming, and we should actually meditate more. But always because of either my travels or other reasons. I feel it's time for introspection for all of us, including me, to see how things went and how things should change in the new year. And hopefully for all of us for better. So the next session we will have is on January 7th. So it's it's a feeling of I'll miss something here. I miss all of you and the meditations together. However, I always feel that this is time to reflect, time to introspect, time to think about what we ought to be. And that's why I think this target state description I think very apt to, food for thought. Talking about food for thought, satsang at the core is this meditation in silence, but in the presence of this transcendental energy. So I think one of the videos that I haven't recorded yet, but I would, hopefully sooner rather than later, is about, this sage that was from southern India, Maharishi Raman. He talked about silence, and it's pretty long. I'll just take a few lines from there. It says, silence is a never-ending speech. Vocal speech obstructs the other speech of silence. So, and in silence, one is in intimate contact with the surroundings. So obviously things get lost in the translation, but, truth gets expounded by silence. And silence is extremely and very, very potent. So then he also talks about teaching, which is a simple communication of knowledge. I think translation is off here, but basically it's teaching, which is like things that we wouldn't know, somebody is letting us know. And Maharishi Raman says that it really can only be done in silence. And so this is, something, again, you listen to something, you read something, but you have to assimilate it, right? That probably is done more in silence than not. So what do you think of a man who listens to a sermon for an hour and goes away without having, without taking anything out of it, right? Compare that person with another who sits in the presence and goes away after some time with his outlook of life completely and totally changed. And so it's like, he asked, like, is it better to teach with words and loudly, or sitting silently and having an impact, which transforms your life? And I think that to me is satsang. So anyway, so let's get into the practice, because meditating in silence can bring things together. I think it's like rewiring of your brain in some ways, where things starting to you can, it almost gives you a mirror where you can see who you are, where you ought to go, etc. But also, it brings light, love, and peace. It brings a constant joy eventually, which we should work towards. So, all right, Luz. So happy holidays and a happy new year. And we'll see you in, other meditations. And yeah, for everyone else, let's get into meditation. Let's relax posture. And I think in some ways, I think the asanas and pranayams, the physical and breathing exercises of yoga, were just to assist in your meditative practices, so you can stay still for a longer period of time and meditate. But these days it's, just find any posture where you can just sit still for 15, 20 minutes. We will meditate in silence for 15, 20 minutes, few minutes of music before and after to transition in and out. Eyes lightly closed for the same reason. We want to focus. We want to make sure that our, we don't get distracted either with bodily movement or with the sensory input through the eyes. So eyes lightly closed, relaxed posture where you can sit still for some time and think of this transcendental energy, which is uplifting positive energy in form of light right here, right now with us. And it's entering our heart and distributing throughout our body. And we are becoming immersed in this energy, in this light. So this transcendental energy in form of light is here with us, entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are becoming one with this light. Mind wanders away, which is natural. As soon as you realize that mind has wandered away, you just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. So you don't do anything else, just focus on the presence of this transcendental energy. And in form of light, it's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're getting completely and totally immersed in this light. So you are becoming one with this energy. So mind will wander away, and at that time, all you have to do is bring it back. All right, so let's start now. So yeah, let's get into some interactive mode here. Hello, Shivangi. Enjoying India?
Namaste, Vijay.
Namaskar.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nice being back.
Yeah. So this was an interesting discussion on the target state, which is always, I think, a topic that's pretty close to my heart. Just, it's like that's motivation, that's inspiration, that's something that I have seen and watched, that, yes, it can be achieved. That in itself is a big ray of hope. So Steve, how are you?
Well, I'm well. I'm just trying to work on myself. My mother passed away about two years ago, and so I've been working on my physical health. I started doing CrossFit about 3.5 months ago, and so I'm also trying to work on my spiritual self. And so this is, I think, the third time I've joined you. So,
No, glad to have you here. And when I don't know, it's very sad, when our near and dear pass away. But one thing that I am very convinced on is that they live with us, and even like physically, for a son, it's like we were born out of, our mothers, and, we have so much within us physically, even if we don't take the spiritual aspect and other things. So they are with us. And I still remember when I went back to India when my mother passed away, for the first day, I could hear her literally. I was like, what will you eat? And so on, so on, so on. It's like, and then, it's just that thought that, they are with us, living within us, and they're not far away at all.
thank you. I'm just trying to cleanse my heart, and just like to walk through my days, helping people and being in the proper state of mind. So this has been interesting, and I'm trying to absorb it all.
Yeah, it's somebody just told me something which was very interesting. Not that, it was like, it's like a clock, and we're very spiritual when we start as kids, and and infants, and then we go farther, and then as time moves along, we go back to be more spiritual, like, It's, but I think what I learned from my family was that just, you can feel the presence of the energies, and you can be spiritual all along the way. And the question is, why not, right? It's if we understood that the peace and joy is in our higher state of consciousness, call it spirituality or anything else, but this constant state of joy is our right and our privilege, and it's something that we should be at all times anyway. And just you saw that pyramid. It's like we should have been on the top of the pyramid and consistently stay there, which I realize. So I'll now I'm going back to the 80s. So one of my grandfather's followers, who I respected a lot and who got me initiated into this in many ways. So there was lunch, and we had this satsang, which was, my grandfather started a process in all major Indian cities. There would be this almost like a 3-day retreat, 5 sessions, morning, evening on the first day, morning, evening on the second day, and morning in the third day. So this people would come from all over, thousands of people, hundreds, even in small places, and I go to those regularly in India. Travel to India at least once or twice a year now, for decades. So this 3-day event, would just like, basically it's a retreat, which it wasn't called a retreat, but, you just disconnect from the world, you take a deep dive, and, the session that we just did, it's traditional prayers instead of music, and I've converted the prayer into music here. But and obviously before and after, there's a lot of what is satsang, and what works, what doesn't work, and so on and so forth. And so going back to that, so after lunch, I was just following Panditji Maharaj, and person I'm talking about, and somebody said, like, he always stays in a very high state. And I was a kid, teenager, like, if he, so I'm like, in my mind, it was like, it was a given. I mean, for what he was doing and for what he was sharing with others, I mean, shouldn't he be at higher states all the time? And so that, that statement just triggered that in my head. And now when I look back, what I realize is that for anyone who wants to stay consistently at the top of the pyramid, it's quite a thing. So first, it's a challenge to get up there, and it's a bigger challenge to stay up there. So it's yeah. But I'm glad, any questions I can answer, anything, anything else that,
just what are there some things you might suggest that I could read that would be helpful in terms of?
So do you have access to the YouTube channel that?
Yep.
Yeah. So what you will find is that at a very slow pace. I'm trying to demystify or translate and just in simple terms. So a lot of the stuff that's in, my grandfather wrote like books and books and books. I mean, there was a 7-volume, 28-chapter book on his own journey. There was a book on, several, personalities that lived in India, about like their path and what he took from their lives and so on and so forth, or how he looked at those lives and what we could learn from there. So there's so much, but all of that is in Hindi, and then more I tried, I find like translating it into English has its own challenges. So that is probably my best attempt so far. A lot of volunteers are working on it. Hopefully next year, what I'm thinking is that these sessions, we will create a theme for the month. So this pyramid, the 5-step pyramid, I want to talk about there is 8 limbs of yoga and how that brings you to the top of the pyramid. Just, demystifying inner peace. So some of those things, I want to bring them all like a little more concentrated dose of some of those concepts, just to, but yeah, hopefully next year there'll be a lot more to read as well. So hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. And you can just email me, or in these sessions, if you find something, especially in these videos, that either is hard to comprehend, or you would like more to know about, just let me know. So that feedback will be very helpful. So on that note, let's open it up. So we will be, these sessions will take a pause, and we'll be back January 7th. So Ajita, you have, how are you doing?
Yes, Pranam. Hello, everyone. I'm doing well. I just wanted to switch on my video. My cousin from Long Island, she's joined the session today. Her name is Pragati. So just also wanted to mention that.
Hello, Pragati. How are you?
Pranam, everyone. Pranam Bhaiya. I'm doing fine. I really owe it to Ajita. She had been kind of giving me information, but today the timing was absolutely right, and I was able to join, and I'm really, really appreciate it. I'm very glad I could be here.
Yeah, we all are glad that you're here. So, yeah.
So is there any in-person sessions on Long Island or nearby?
So in New Jersey, there is a weekly satsang, but I am planning next year to have, so there are, obviously 2 types, right? The Hindi and the English, right? So the English sessions, I'm planning that at least once in a quarter we will do in person, and I think end of January, the 28th and 29th weekend, I'm planning to do an immersive weekend, which will be 3 sessions, 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, just to, I think those are like the Bhandaras in India, which just take you to the next level.
Okay. That's good to hear. And that would be in New Jersey?
I haven't decided yet. So it will be online, definitely.
Okay.
But I have, I'm planning to start something in Virginia first. I think the pandemic in one way got me, see, I started the online sessions, the Hindi ones, like way back in around 2004, 5. And people were saying, like, what has online to do with, meditation? And lo and behold, the Hindi sessions, there are thousands of people now since the pandemic started. The English sessions are still very intimate and very small set of people. But I'm very committed to it. It's, Eddie knows that, right? Eddie would be happy if we do something in New Jersey, right? Right, Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, anywhere is fine. I certainly do enjoy those immersive sessions, though they're very powerful and always leave you with a certain vibration for the weeks to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're amazing, amazing. I think what I find is, like, online is good, but in person is 10x. When the group gets a little bigger, it becomes 100x. When I go to India, it's like it becomes 1000x, because just the collective energy is just like phenomenal. So, and then this format that Guru Maharaj started, like multiple sessions in consecutive days. It just, it's like a research conference type of thing, like, but in silence. And as we were discussing, silence is very potent, and more can be learned through silence. It's once you get to it, then you are looking for it, right? It's yeah, it's so Eddie, what else? What's on your mind?
I think you covered some very interesting topics today, and I would just reiterate what you said. We are in this process of rehabilitation, so we have to basically spiritually rehabilitate ourselves and return to that state of Sat Chit and Anand. And this process helps us do that. But we find there's a struggle, and our mind is a great part of that struggle, or the lack of control of our mind is a great part of that struggle. It's, in a sense, our nemesis. We talked about it before, and mentioned that this is an internal struggle, and the struggle is with our mind. But you mentioned that this silence can give us this increased consciousness, this increased awareness, this increased knowledge. And when we obtain that silence, it gives us that connection with God, if you will, or transcendental energy. By doing that, we can touch the depths of Chit and accelerate our progress on the spiritual path. So this idea of silence is a very important one, because it does increase our awareness and our consciousness, and as a result of that, our happiness and joy as well. So when we say that trying to cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves. Science is a great way of doing that because, like you said earlier, science is the teacher of truth. It is, in a sense, the voice of this transcendental energy or God. It speaks very softly, but our mind is, very loud, very chaotic. So that's what we hear most of the time. But it's only when we sit in silence that we can truly hear the voice of God or this transcendental energy, connect with it. And that gives us this increase in consciousness or awareness or knowledge or wisdom, if you will. And in doing so, we feel better, we feel more joyous. So these satsang sessions are an opportunity for us to do just that and help us in our rehabilitation process. So, in my experience, having gone through a few different types of systems, I find this to be very effective. It's a simple system to learn, but very effective. And, I'm just glad that I came across it and that you spent time early on in my development teaching me and spending time with me, because the time, that was put in, by you, me, and everyone that participates in satsang has paid off for me. So, I'm just appreciative that I came across this system and appreciative for what the Guru Maharaj has left us.
Yeah. So, there is a question of in the about Chintan and what how can it be done while you're doing other things. So think about that as we just did a meditation where we are connecting with this transcendental energy and we get energized. The group helps us, this collective energy uplifts us. All that is fine, but how do I take this to, permeate throughout the day? So one of the ways is to think of, like creating a background process where, it's like my phone is in the background connecting to things and collecting information. So my background thread could be that I am doing my work, but without affecting that, I'm still connected to the energy. And that, the stronger that source connection to the source of energy becomes, the deeper we were talking about, like getting up to the top of the pyramid is a challenge, but staying there. So receiving energy is a challenge, but sustaining it and keeping it can be an even bigger challenge. And so having this refill capability in the background could really help. So then people say like, oh, if I'm doing that, my other things that I'm trying to work on will get affected. So my grandfather's guru, the other guru, Lalaji Maharaj, he used to say that, in India, people used to eat pan and like think of chewing gum, right? And you're chewing gum, but you're doing everything else. You're signing papers, you're, whatever else is on your plate. So he used to say that it's like that to me. I'm always, there is a background thread that's always connected. And once you have that, the energy is always flowing and refilling as needed. So on that note, happy holidays to everyone, and happy New Year, and we'll see you all here soon, January 7th to be specific. So, all right then. Talk to you all soon. Steve, Eddie, Shivangi, Ajita, Pragati, Poonamji, Vivek, Preeti, and Yuan. You were such a great help. Mahimaji, Onkar, Vivek, Abhishek, Shwetaji. So,
Thank you, Sanjeev ji.
thank you.
Happy
Namaskar, bhaiya.